Enough is enough. Tough words from Governor Gavin Newsom when it comes to states being forced to compete for essential medical supplies. Good afternoon. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm Dina Kupfer, once again working from home in Vacaville this noon. The governor will be holding a news conference momentarily, and today he's expected to unveil a plan about acquiring more protective equipment for our medical workers, that so-called PPE, the personal protective equipment that is so important for those working on the front lines. As soon as we do see the governor,
things that have happened over the course of the last few hours, the last number of days, but none more important to me than to express appreciation to our National Guard, the men and women of the National Guard that took two C-130 planes, flew them to Illinois, one into New Jersey, New York area to provide 100 ventilators for the needs of the state of Illinois, those in New Jersey, another 100 in the state of New York. Those same men and women, or different group within the National Guard ranks, now are deploying additional ventilators in Delaware and D.C., in Maryland, and driving, as we speak, driving into Nevada, 50 ventilators for each of those states. I just want to thank them in particular because the National Guard have provided not only the kind of humanitarian support that's demonstrable in that example, but also continue to do heroic work in our food banks all throughout the state of California. And in addition to that, we've got 100 of them that just went out on the lines to prepare for this this summer's fire season that is close upon us. They're doing vegetation management, forest management, and so I cannot express enough my gratitude, my respect, my appreciation to our National Guard. I also wanted to update all of you on a significant effort that we have advanced on PPE. So much attention, not just on N95 masks, on coveralls and gowns, on shields, on surgical masks, gloves, and the like. We have been doing our part over the course of the last number of weeks to punch above our weight. We've been able to secure over 41.5 million N95 masks and distribute them throughout the state of California. While we've had a little support from the national stockpile, we haven't relied on that. A little over 1 million N95 masks have come from the strategic national stockpile. 41.5 million have been distributed throughout the state. And it's a way of emphasizing that all of us are working, in some cases collaboratively, in other cases across our respective jurisdictions and sometimes against each other in the open market to compete, to procure through a supply chain that is global, more PPE. In some cases, we've been actually competing against the federal government. You've seen price gouging. You've seen a lot of mishigas. I made this point the other day about one of our deliveries on the border into Texas, and a lot of the masks were moldy and had to be shipped back. And so in an effort not to play small ball, in an effort to really organize to meet the audacious goal that we had of over 500 million PPE that we announced a few weeks back based upon our modeling, we decided to retool our efforts, refocus on our vendors, refocus on our supply chains. And we're very pleased that we're able to formally submit to the legislature yesterday a request to utilize money from our disaster response emergency operations account that would allow us to invest over $1.4 billion into PPE of all stripes, and do so in a way that secure the anxiety that many of us have, not just the healthcare workers in the state of California within the hospital systems, in our community clinics, in our skilled nursing facilities, adult daycare centers, but also our grocery workers, our DMV workers, the frontline employees walking the streets, doing outreach to the homeless, people knocking on your doors to do wellness checks, to basically provide for the amount of personal protective gear that is needed in totality. And so as a consequence, we made a big, bold bet on a new strategy, and it is bearing fruit. I'm going to ask the director of the Office of Mercy Service to walk through a little bit more of the details and how we're going about this, what our supply chains look like, the consortia of nonprofits that are part of this, a private company here in the state of California that really stepped up with strong relationships in China to help us with those direct supply chains. It's a logistics operation that is quite extraordinary in its magnitude in terms of the number of flights that have to come into the United States, the partnerships that have been formed, not just with nonprofits, but organizations like the Asia Society that have been helpful, other private sector partners, both here in the United States, but substantively overseas, and of course FEMA and their incredible work that they've done in collaboration with the state of California to get these contracts procured and to get the commitments of roughly 200 million masks alone. And I specifically point to the masks, the PPE. It's broader than that, but the masks, of course, being so topical, roughly 150 million N95s on a monthly basis and 50 million surgical masks on a monthly basis that we believe with these contracts, multiple contracts and multiple sources, we'll be able to bring into the state of California and procure and begin to distribute at a scale that we haven't been able to date. So with that, I want to ask the director of the Office of Emergency Service to come up. He'll fill in the blanks on some of the details of that strategy. I just want to note I have deep respect and gratitude to our partners as well in the legislature. We submitted a $495 million formal request for the first tranche of payments on the over $1.4 billion of procurement for these efforts. That is not an insignificant amount of money, but we're dealing at a time where we need to go boldly and we need to meet this moment without playing small ball any longer. And we need to coordinate and organize our nation-state status as we can only in California with our procurement capacity that quite literally is second only to the United States itself. California is in a position not only to leverage those supply chains, leverage our investment, but do so in a way that protects the taxpayers as well. And so with that, let me ask the director to come up, fill in the blanks, and of course we'll have ample opportunity to answer specific questions. But after he speaks, I'll go into a series of other issues that I know are topical and important to everybody that may be watching.